The access is key to and central to everything, and whether that's for information systems, services, and it's one of those core domains. And in information security and cyber, you've got lots of different domains, security domains, but access is always fundamental. It's probably the most one of if not the most important security domain. Four big factors. One I would say is cloud adoption. Organizations have their ecosystem and their technology landscape has grown exponentially. What you can control yourself has changed completely. You're no longer in full control of that technology stack or the information or where it sits. Compliance requirements, similarly, we touched on this about it's protecting the user now. So things like GDPR, things like HIPAA. One thing that has really last couple of years with the pandemic and everything is the remote workforce. So now it's almost like a digital revolution. The way we work has transformed, but it hasn't done so organically. It's almost been forced on us. That industrial revolution has happened really quickly. And a lot of people, I think, realize, well, hold on a sec, this is the model going forward. And I guess the last big factor is the security concerns. The security landscape is evolving at a rapid rate. The security concerns that we're seeing now are scaring people because what the systems or the platforms that they have in place are not necessarily equipped or haven't been built in a way to deal with the modern threats and the challenges that we're seeing today. I think there's a lot of moving parts. So going back to what I kind of mentioned about what is your driver? Yes, security has always been the predominant kind of driver for IAM, but you've got the efficiency part as well. You've got user experience as well. So there's no such thing as the perfect solution, but there is the opportunity to understand what your challenges and your requirements are to get a solution that's probably right for you. You've got lots of IAM solutions in the market. Some are really good at, authentication, authorization, multi-factor. And then going back to what we mentioned about the cloud, you've got IAM solutions that can be delivered in so many different ways. There's many solutions. And the last thing you want to do is kind of pick up something like a Magic Quadrant and say, okay, well, they're in the top right, so they must be the right solution for me. That's not how it works. You have to understand what your problem and what is the problem that you're trying to fix before you start looking at solutions. The way we connect with each other has changed. And I think we don't have a single, that single source of having a repository and we say, okay, well, that's my IAM. These are my people. This is what they need access to. What we need access to changes on an ongoing basis as well. So I'll draw a line in the sand today. Tomorrow, that line has changed. That's moved. Now, if I have IAM for that line I drew yesterday, and that IAM model can't adapt to the new line, that's a point in time. That's no longer right for me today. So I think your IAM technologies today and strategy has to be far more adaptive. Otherwise, it'll be shelf life. If you're going to try and bring in IAM for efficiency, you don't want to then create a load of processes that sit on top of your IAM that are manual, that have to manage your IAM to keep it adaptive and up to date and up to speed. So it's almost like you want to leverage technologies like AI that, for example, can monitor what norm looks like and start to normalize your IAM, whether it's risk-based, whether it looks at hygiene, it looks like patterns of connectivity. There's a lot of different options compared to IAM 5-10 years ago. I think it's accelerated at an alarming rate. So it's never starting the technology or the solution. You go to Exposium or something, and you're presented a dashboard and you think, wow, if we had that information at our fingertips, let's get that tool in so we know we can get that dashboard and work our way backwards. With IAM, it's completely different. If you do that, you're not going to get to where you need to get to. So you almost need to do a discovery exercise. The people, process, technology, back to basics. And you're not looking for a perfect solution. You're looking for 80-20. And then the next one is the design. Okay, well, once you know what your requirements are, start to design that. What does that look like from a security, efficiency, and user experience perspective? Because those customer journeys, they may have different requirements. Organizations will know if their IAM solutions are effective or not. They will know because of how much pain or maintenance or overhead, or they just know. For us, we have maturity modeling that helps us determine, okay, well, where are you today versus where you need to be? Let's have a look how secure you are today. So you can model where someone is today from a security perspective. Efficiency factor. Okay, well, let's see what your solution looks like in terms of your technology, digital footprint, technology landscape, what's in scope, how much of your estate is actually covered by that solution. I think it's very solution focused. You've got various European legislation, so particularly financial services. If you're, for example, if your customers can log on and process payments, or if they can log on and do any account administration, maintenance, you've got strict kind of regulation coming out from Europe. I think what we're seeing also is a lot of activity and traction in, for example, education, because of all your different customer journeys. Before you join a company, there's a whole load of activity now that a lot of organizations do before someone is even an employee. Then you've got a lot of stuff around, alumni. How do you keep people going after their essential kind of, contract with you has finished, but they still want to be involved because those are opportunities, marketing, all of that stuff. So I think the scope has completely changed and widened. Regardless of if you've kind of gone with a new solution and you don't think it's necessarily working as well as you expected, or you've had something around for years and you think the landscape's changed, or you just want to kind of see where you are today versus where you were 5 years ago. I think start with a kind of maturity modeling in terms of, okay, well, let's assess the as is, and we can kind of give insight into what good might look like. So what's the to be, what's the desired state? I mean, first and foremost, it's a business problem, but it's because it leverages and uses technology to solve. Quite often, people it's left as a technology problem, but it's not a technology problem. It's a business problem, and that's one of the challenges. It's getting the right people in the room, and it's only when it becomes a big enough problem and enough heads clash, usually within an internal organization, that someone says, "Hold on a sec. It's not just technology. It's not just in the business. It's not just, the customer channels or the supplier manager. It's everyone." Tactical approach, you're going to find that, the technology budgets get consumed. There's some money earmarked for authentication or licenses for your MFA platform, Oktas, all those guys. But from a strategic point, it's, program of work. That's the challenge. Putting together that business case, and saying, okay, this is now a program, this is change stuff rather than run stuff. So the shift has to be to kind of show the value across the organization. You can't solve a strategic problem with a tactical solution. So we get engaged, we've been engaged in the past at the final hurdle where people think they know what they want. They just want us to help with the tools. Similarly, we've been engaged with by organizations that have no idea what they want. They just know they need it. I like to focus on the discovery and the design, because the deployment and delivery can be done, by anyone. You can pick a tool and you can say, I'm going to try and deliver this. Whether you do it correctly is very much determined by your, your design and discovery. 2 or 3. That's because the tactical kind of technology solution has always been the first starting point. We need MFA. Okay, what's the best MFA tool? And this is the best MFA tool. Let's get this through the door. Just okay. If I need MFA, I'll get MFA, and this is the solution. Typically, most people are in a 2 or a 3 because they've taken a tactical approach to a strategic solution, but that's because it's never been a strategic problem. But I think that's going to change. So I think that the next 5-10 years is going to be huge.